Good evening, everybody. What if I told you that failure isn't about hitting obstacles? It's about not having a plan for when they show up. Good evening, everybody. Patrick here, Pat on your back, personal fitness. Hope you're having a great week. And tonight we're going to talk about the importance of contingency plans for achieving your goals. Couple of weeks absence. I had a flu and cold kind of run through the house with a few things going on. So apologies for the absence. But back tonight to start to sort of wrap up our series on goal setting and accomplishing what you want to this year. Again, we started back in kind of Thanksgiving time, talking about gratitude. That sort of kicks us off our gratitude challenge, and then looking to setting up goals for 2025 well before the New Year's resolution time frame hits. Just to have more momentum, to have plans in place, to have systems in place, and to maybe trial and error a few things to see what is going to work for you to hopefully ramp up our success and to have momentum leading into January 1, where a lot of people who set resolutions day of, they set them, they hear a friend say it, oh, it's January 1st, I should pick something. And there's not a lot of substance behind it and plans. And we talked about SMART goals and theme words, and Blake Miles was here talking about vision boards and vision statements and mission statements to help us create a plan to, again, have the most success we can in 2025. Hey, Bonnie, good to see you. And thank you. Yeah, I feel much better. It was a rough couple of weeks with everything going on. So it's that time of year. So tonight we're going to talk about contingency plans, because it's not really if, but when or what life is going to put in your way as a roadblock, as an obstacle. So we want to be prepared for those and make sure we have steps in place to be able to deal with them. Much like me for the last couple of weeks, I wish I had a different contingency plan in place for the shows. Maybe a couple of pre-recorded kind of topics that I could put out for you guys, or from the vault kind of episode to share. So I'm going to look ahead to maybe have a couple things in the bank so that I can have them quickly if needed. I can put them out there and you guys can still enjoy the show or go back and stay in your routine as well, as much as we can. Before, kind of when we first started the first year, couple of years, I would bring in someone else. I would share a video from our pal Todd Durkin or Brendan Burchard or Blake himself. We throw something in that way, but I find those resources aren't there as much now. They're not broadcasting live as much as they used to. So that's not something I can really pick from. So we're going to look at a contingency plan for if and when I have to miss a week or take time off and that sort of thing. So, and there's some other stories I have on that of other times when, again, didn't have that in it. Looking back now, it could have cost some growth in the show and some exposure and things like that. So trying to have that system in place so that, again, it's not if, but it's when something's going to come up and be in our way. So tonight we're going to talk about why it's crucial to have those plans for our success. Again, how to anticipate obstacles and stay adaptable. We've talked about max flex here. My time in Afghanistan, our big motto, our mantra was max flex. Things are going to happen. You've got to be able to think and adapt and adjust and change on the fly. And that's what we want to do here. Be as adaptable as we can. And again, that'll limit the amount of derailment that we have to maybe experience when these things come up. And we'll go over some practical steps to create an effective contingency plan. So thanks as always for tuning in, whether you're here with us live or via recording. I always appreciate you being here. Please feel free if you have any questions, comments in the chat. You can just say hello, let us know where you're tuning in from, and feel free to share this in your networks if you feel there's someone that could benefit from it, or maybe is on this journey maybe with you or at the same time as you and trying to accomplish a big goal for 25. Share this out. Maybe there's something in there they can draw from it, and or it can introduce them to our community, which is so welcoming and great, and it can only benefit someone if they can join in with all you fine folks in our community here. So getting right into it, as I mentioned, think about the failure. So often we think failure isn't is about avoiding one of the things to be perfect. Our road's nice and clear. We can kind of see our goal ahead and we just go towards it. But there's going to be obstacles that come in the way. And the more we can plan for them, the higher our success rate will be. And that's what we're looking for tonight. And what we want to do, we talk here about consistency. We talk about always moving forward towards that goal. Again, when Blake was here a few weeks ago, we talked about those little steps, taking little steps every day. And that's what a contingency plan helps us do. It helps us stay consistent. It helps us continue to move forward towards our goal rather than totally knock us off track. Even if we have to maybe take a few days to not work on our goal, it's good to have a contingency plan to help us come out of some of those events and things as well. So that, again, we can pick back up where we left off. Or again, we can look at things that we can do to at least maintain maybe where we were in terms of fitness. If you have to take time off from your workout, say your routine, if there's things we can do to maintain our fitness level, it's better than going backwards and doing nothing. We don't have to overcome that obstacle when we get back into our kind of normal routine. So again, looking at ways to, hey, Ramondo, welcome in. Good to see you. Looking at ways to, again, keep us moving forward towards that goal and to keep that consistent momentum going for us. Because if we can keep that going, again, it's not such a big hole we have to maybe dig ourselves out of when these obstacles do show up and try to derail us or throw us off our course a little bit. Thinking of, again, looking at common roadblocks we can see and experience throughout our kind of journey towards our goal. We're going to look at how to create those contingency plans as we go forward as well. So why they're essential? Because there's no such thing, as I mentioned, as the perfect plan. A lot of people won't start or go or even create a plan because they feel it has to be perfect. And I believe Blake mentioned it a couple weeks ago when he was here. There's no way for it to be perfect if you don't start. We have to try it and see what works and what doesn't to be able to modify and adjust as we go through. So if we don't get ourselves started or put pen to paper and get something down, at least, we're never going to be able to really make it perfect anyway or make it efficient. So we want to get it down. We don't want to worry about those distractions and those, again, kind of that perfection, trying to have that clear path in advance. We want to anticipate that the blocks will be coming, the roadblocks, the obstacles, because again, life's going to hand us something. So how can we prepare for that and be ready for it so that, again, it doesn't derail us completely off our track? It just maybe slows us down a little bit, or we have to do some readjustments with that. So another important piece is having strategies in place or contingency plans, ways to get through or over or around these obstacles. It limits our fear of failure, because we kind of get in our head a lot and say, what if this happens? What if this comes up? And oh, if this doesn't go just so, it's going to throw me off. So if we can have plans in place to overcome or adapt or adjust to some of these obstacles, then it takes some of that fear away. It takes some of those what ifs out of our mind, which then again can keep us in a more of a positive mind frame and mindset as we look towards our goals and look towards that next step that we need to take to move forward. So it limits that sort of negative self-talk that can come in and, again, really derail us, or again, even keep us maybe from even getting started towards that goal. So again, another reason why these are so important to have in place to help us just to get started, and then also to take some of that fear out of the way, which again can lead to negative self-talk and ultimately, for a lot of us, putting the brakes on the thing, going, oh, never mind, there's too many what ifs. Something's going to throw me off or derail me. It's not, shouldn't even bother. And we don't want that. We want to make sure we're moving forward and always working towards those goals, ascend to the end, like we like to say here in our community. So again, those plans help us work towards that and stay on track. And again, be prepared. So if we can take some of the fear away, some of that negative self-talk away as well, we're going to hit the ground running and get started sooner. And also, again, maybe have a little more pace behind us or a little more momentum, because we'll take some of those internal roadblocks away And the more we can take the internal away, that gives us more kind of freedom and energy to handle those external roadblocks that, again, will come up as you go through this process. So what we want to think of is gives us having these contingency plans. Again, if you take out the negative self-talk, if you get rid of those fears of failure, then already our confidence goes up. So again, higher confidence, we're more likely to start. We're more likely to hit the ground running. We're more likely to maybe take chances and do new things that will help us progress towards our goal. Again, getting the internal roadblocks out of the way, we can replace that with more positive energy, with that confidence, that creativity that'll help us go forward. It'll give us a bigger sense of control as well. So again, we feel like we're driving the car, following the GPS towards our goal. It's not that self-driven car. We're not in an Uber, someone taking us with their shortcut or their way to get there. We're more in control of the process. So again, the more we're in control of things, the easier it is for us to handle those unexpected events that come up for us. So it's very important, again, skill and process to have in place to help us get started, but again, ultimately to help us keep going and to keep that momentum moving towards that goal as much as we can. And if you think of some, you can probably think of some examples in your life or people that maybe you watch or follow, thinking of athletes where they get injured. They pull a hamstring, or they have a rotator cuff injury or things like that. They have to sit out for a while. They have to modify their training. They have plans in place of what to do if that happens, or alternative ways they can find to train. So if I have a lower body injury, maybe I use that time to really strengthen my core or strengthen my upper body more. If I'm, say, a sprinter and I pull a hamstring, I can't train legs for a while. But if I can get a stronger core, if I can get stronger upper body around my shoulders and back, that could help me generate maybe more power, maybe more efficient in my movements. That will help me run more efficiently, even though I can't train the powerhouse that is my legs for those sprints. Same thing here, people having an upper body injury, takes them out, they hit legs a little harder. Again, that core is usually there. They work on other skills maybe in the game that will better them. They maybe work on their balance, maybe work on hand-eye coordination. Maybe they work on the recovery and strengthen the recovery process and really focus in on that, so that again, when they've recovered from the injury, they can bring that process to their everyday life and work recovery into their everyday routine, which is so important for us. But it's often the area that's most neglected when it comes to being active and physically fit. We do the work, we get the workout in, and then if we're running short on time, the recovery is usually the first thing to be thrown out the window so we can go. Maybe we learn new strategies and methods and modalities of recovery that we can, again, bring into everyday life when, again, we're back at 100%. So just even think of some people, like entrepreneurs during the pandemic, people, those of us that had our own businesses, a lot of us had to pivot and do different things and for fitness, teach classes online and set up programs and do online training. And some people stayed in that kind of stream once COVID sort of went away or lessened its impact on us, at least. Some people pivot, some people went back to in person, some people do a little hybrid of both. But again, you have to make changes when life threw that at you. And it wasn't something, again, that we really anticipated or totally expected. So a lot of it was on the fly planning. Now, if something like that comes up, hopefully it doesn't, but if something like that happens, we have that experience to draw from and have those maybe plans in place, or those secondary options that maybe we need to help us move forward. So I'm sure, again, you can think of times in your life when something came up, a life event, an injury, something where you had to maybe modify what you were doing. Maybe you could get into work, but you can work from home. Maybe you had to modify duties when you went back to work. Again, there's lots of different ways to approach things and plans to make. So try to take a moment to think back to when there were some obstacles, some roadblocks to go through. What is it that you did to help you work around those, work through those, and draw from that experience, that as we go through this kind of session tonight and incorporating this contingency plan into our setup and our systems, we can, again, use our experiences to help us develop and guide these contingency plans. It may not be exactly the same. Maybe it didn't work before, but still take that experience and learn from it and apply it to what we're working towards now. Awesome. So just a few potential roadblocks, and we want to be aware of these as much as we can. Again, we're trying to be kind of proactive. We talked before about setting our SMART goals, having our system in place to be ready to create momentum leading into January 1, rather than just starting that day. This is part of that as well, being sort of proactive. We talked about schedules before, looking at your calendar, looking at ups and downs in your life, where maybe it's going to be hard to work on your goal here. So maybe I need to kind of dial down how I work on it, how I approach it. But then in a month, things will open up and I can ramp up that progress. Again, I can plan for that. And this is part of that as well. Looking at, again, those ebbs and flows in our life, in our work, those are probably good indicators of where maybe obstacles will come in, or you'll know those obstacles because you can see them. You know when work is maybe year end and you have to do financials and finish up programs and make sure everything is done by a certain date and reported so that you can flip over to the next fiscal year. Same thing here. You want to look at those and say, okay, that's going to impact when I can work on my goals. What can I do to modify that? We go away on a trip, we have to go away for business. We can say, okay, I can't work on my fitness goal as much as I want to, but can I maintain it? Can I get a little bit of work in? Can I modify my training to at least be consistent while I'm away? Is there a gym at the place I'm going to be staying? Is there one close by? Is there outdoor facilities, beaches and things I can go to try to stay on track and at least be consistent in my goals of exercise and or activity every day? And then when you come back, we ramp things back up and go back to the plan you had before. This is no different. We want to try to look at some of those setbacks and goals, identify the ones that maybe we know will be present in us, and again, externally, what's going to come at us, and plan and prepare for them with our contingency plans as best we can. So some common ones: we lack of motivation. We talked a few weeks ago about staying motivated, inspired, and consistent, and how to work through that. So you can go back and check out that episode. Financial challenges, and again, life can happen. Things come up where maybe you have to allocate some money somewhere else, or maybe you have to pick up extra work to make some extra money for something, and that's going to cut into your time working towards your goal. Again, there's lots of different things coming up. If you know maybe certain times of the year, for Christmas time for a lot of people is financially challenging because there's gifts, maybe some traveling, lots of things going on. So the new year can be a tough time for a lot of people as they come out of that kind of holiday season. Again, if you know there's certain times where there's going to be financial challenges and maybe that impacts your goal directly, or it just affects maybe your mental focus to be able to work on your goal. There's lots of different outlets that could come at you and be affected by some of these. So knowing you and what helps you, what hinders you, what influences you, again, kind of internally and externally, directly and indirectly, again, will help you create these contingency plans. Unexpected life events, all those, again, things that we don't think are going to happen that kind of come up that we have to, again, maybe shift or pivot what we're doing to respond to. Time constraints, maybe again, something comes up where you have to go away for a bit. Maybe the life events cause some changes to your schedule or locations or where you need to be. So how do we work around those? How do we kind of create those? And again, maybe you'll know some of those time constraints. Again, it comes back to looking at our 3-6 month calendar ahead to see when those busy times come. My teacher clients, I always say, look at your schedule and see where report cards season is and identify it and know that those times, those couple weeks, as you lead into really getting those report cards done, that's when we want to modify our workout routine, because a lot of us are just going to throw it aside because we're too busy when we really need that time to get to the gym, to get those workouts in, to de-stress, to clear our minds, to help us remember what little Timmy did in his math book that we can include in his report card. So we want to look ahead to those time constraints that we have and again, create those contingency plans. Between this date and this date, I'm busy. My workouts are going to change from this to maybe this sort of style, maybe this frequency to this frequency, or I'm going to at least do this kind of training for a couple of weeks. I'm going to get maybe instead of 3 gym visits, I'm going to do 3 yoga stretches at home or some 3 yoga DVDs at home to at least fill in that time. And I'm not commuting to the gym and I can get back to things sooner. We want to create those plans in advance so when the time comes, we can just implement those. We don't feel guilty for missing out on our steps and for not working towards our goal. We get our work done, we handle the obstacle, and we still work towards our goal. So our confidence and our control stay high as well. Awesome. So ways we can kind of predict some of these challenges in advance. We talked about how having plans keeps some of that negative self-talk out, those what ifs. But maybe we can use that now to create the plans in advance. So we have our goals, we've got our system in place, we've reverse engineered. We talked about having that goal and breaking it down into manageable chunks and smaller goals and check-in points. Maybe we can look ahead and see, okay, I've got my goal set out. I've got my calendar here with all my ebbs and flows of busy times, lighter times, events that are coming up that I'll have to think about. Sit with all that, spread it out and think, what could go wrong? What could impact me? What could derail me? Okay, I know I've got taxes due in the spring. It looks like maybe I'll owe this year. What if I owe? Is that going to impact my progress towards my goal? Okay, if I owe, then maybe I can't take that workshop I want to in April or May. Maybe I should hold off and do that later on. Can I push that back and maybe move something up in place of it to help me still progress towards my goal? Or can I maybe find some information about it online to kind of get me started until I can get into the course or until I know for sure I have the resources to get into the workshop, something like that. So what could go wrong? I know my company's going through tough times. There could be maybe some cutbacks or there could be layoffs. How is that going to impact me? I could be sent overseas to head up a project for 3 months within my company. You know, maybe that's not something that would be wrong per se, but it could have a big impact on your goal and you're working towards your goal accomplishment. So what could go wrong and what could be an obstacle for me? What could create obstacles for me? And again, use your resources, use that calendar that you have. Again, lay out your goals, have your vision board there, and put all these things together so that, again, you can identify these obstacles in advance as much as we can. We won't get them all. Life's going to throw something at us. But the more, again, we can identify, create contingency plans for, then the more in control we are, the better we feel about it. And the less fear we have, and again, the more likely we are to stay in motion or even to start motion towards that goal. Maybe talk to other people who have been through the process. If you have a mentor or a coach who's been through that process, maybe you have a friend or colleague who's gone through the process you're going through now, talk to them. Gather from their experience what went right, what didn't go right for them, maybe some obstacles they faced that they didn't expect or did expect, and what you could do to avoid them. What did they do to maybe work through those obstacles as well? Again, learn from others' experiences is key in that, and hopefully it saves us some of the hard work, really, of planning and going through it, or identifying it if someone else can bring it to our attention. And as I mentioned earlier, thinking back to your obstacles, keep track of your past obstacles. Sit and think back again of maybe different goals or situations you were in. Maybe it was a work project, or thinking back in school, a group project or an assignment to do. What were some obstacles you had that prevented you from progressing towards your end goal of completing that project or that task, or wherever the case may be? So keep track of those past obstacles and think about them so you can learn from them. Don't dwell on them and put yourself down for it, but use it as an opportunity to learn from and apply it to this situation. Because again, the ultimate goal for us is to create a system for you to take from this goal and apply it to the next goal. If you've been with us for the last for almost 5 years, coming up soon, next month, you may have a couple systems already that you can maybe apply to this goal and maybe tweak and adjust the system as you're going through. But that's the idea, is that we can just take that system and apply it to a specific situation, but then tweak it so it matches up. But we have kind of the framework or the foundation for that with us. So ways to help create an effective contingency plan, because we want it to be as effective as it can be. So again, maybe we can take that and apply it to different situations, or you may have a few different plans that are kind of specific to a certain situation. But again, maybe the framework or certain parts of it will overlap for you. Maybe the exit strategy of coming off a bit of a lull or an obstacle, maybe that's the same for each one. But maybe the actual working through some of that stuff will be a little different. Again, whatever sort of works best for you. So the first step will be to define our goal clearly. So again, we talked about this a few weeks ago. I want to make sure it's specific, it's adaptable. Sometimes we may have to tweak depending on what life has handed us. Maybe it's a little less severe or more severe than anticipated. So we'll maybe need to adjust and adapt our plan a little bit as we go. Again, think of those obstacles that could go wrong. Again, use your resources, especially if you know things that are going to be obstacles for you. Identify those right away and then work through the what ifs. What could go wrong? What could be a possibility? If this time last year this happened, is it going to happen again, or could it happen again? Is it going to come up later on? Again, try to use your past experiences and look through those obstacles and brainstorm, get it all out there, and then organize it and group it and gather it as you need to from there. And then we want to develop our alternative strategies. This is strategies, not just strategy. Have a plan A, a plan B, a plan C, a kind of approach. Because we're probably never 100% sure maybe what will happen or identify everything perfectly. We want to have an idea of it at least. It's easier to maybe tweak and adjust a plan or modify and switch to the next plan rather than try to create 3 or 4 plans in the moment it happens. So you may create 2 or 3 and not use them, or maybe just use one of them and it'll work and you'll be fine. But again, life can throw us unexpected twists and turns. So you may have to adjust through those. So think of different ways to help you get through it, and ways you can work through it, and resources you can use, people you can lean on, and that sort of thing. So if an example would be, if your goal is to work out daily, what would you have for backups where you lose time? You don't have the time to work out. What are the backups? Okay, I can't get to the gym, but I can go for a walk around the block. I can't get to the gym, but I could do some stretching in the spare room. I could get outside on the deck and do some push-ups and some squats. I could do some bodyweight exercises. And there's different. I don't have an hour to do my usual routine, but I can do one set or a couple sets in half an hour to get something, and I can modify it a little bit. There's different options there to work through. So again, look at all those obstacles, and then what would work for you to get through, and think of those ways. Okay, I can't. It's gonna be tough for me to get to the gym tomorrow, but I can use my lunch break at work to go for a nice walk outside. Or there's some outdoor exercise equipment on the waterfront. I can go for a walk. I can get a few pull-ups and some presses in as I walk to get a little bit of movement in. And then I can get back to work in the afternoon. So I get my workout in, I get some fresh air, I get some activity, I get a break from sitting at my desk and moving, and I check off a bunch of boxes that helps me have a productive afternoon and stay on track towards my goals. So confidence and self-efficacy. I continue to climb, which will help me the next day and with the next obstacle as well. And we want to build flexibility into our plans. So we want to give ourselves some time to, again, max flex. We talked about it quite a bit here. Have that flexibility to, again, move things where they need to. I can't get in for an hour today at the gym. I can do 20 minutes though. I can go for a walk. We're not being so rigid and things have to be set in stone. A lot of people I work with have trouble with that because they think a gym workout has to be an hour and a half, 2 hours. I got to warm up. I got to sweat. I got to do this and that. When really we could, if we need to be, we could probably get what we needed to in 20, 30 minutes of the workout portion itself, depending on how we train and the exercises we use and the active recovery versus more of a stationary recovery. There's different ways we can do that. So don't feel like everything is written in stone and concrete. Again, we can play around with things if and when we need to help keep us on track. Again, we change the training style, the modality, what we're doing, the time, the intensity. We can play around with a bunch of things in that workout example. And think of anything you're working towards with your goal. There's probably ways you can modify and tweak and adjust. Something's better than nothing. So if we can get a little bit in, that'll get us ready for the next day and going forward. So don't be too rigid. And again, focus on progress. taking that little step towards that next goal. We're not looking at perfection here. We just want progress. We want consistency. We want to continue that momentum going towards that big goal that we have at the end of the year. Remember, it's a 2025 goal. It wasn't a February 28th goal. It's a 2025. So we have until the end of December to really accomplish this big goal that we've set for ourselves. So keep that in mind. You've got time to work through these things and continue to progress forward as best we can and keep that momentum going. And look for triggers for adjustments. So set yourself up with maybe flags. Any red flags happened, that'll set you up for that adjustment. Okay, if this starts to happen at work, I know things are going to be busy, so I need to make those adjustments. Okay, if the weather's going to do this, I know that's going to impact me getting out for my walk. What can I change and modify to do? So when you look at the forecast, it's going to be minus 27 today. That's a little too chilly to get outside during the day to go for a walk. How can I modify that? Okay, I can stay inside and do something. I can wait till I get home. Maybe I can get to the gym. Maybe I can do some stretching and yoga, Pilates, things that are maybe a little more quiet at my desk or my workspace. There's different ways to work through that. So you can look for those triggers to remind you to kind of activate those contingency plans. So it'll set up kind of almost a warning system for you. Again, trying to not get caught off guard too often. Have them in place. Think of the things we can, situations we can in advance as much as possible. So again, we maintain control of what it is we're working towards. Excellent. So some ways to think about staying resilient and adaptable, because again, we want that during our these obstacles and things that we're going through. So we want to have a bit of a mindset shift. Instead of fearing obstacles, as we talked about multiple times tonight, think of them, expect them. They're going to be there. Life's going to throw you something during this process. Generally, it could be what you're expecting. Typically, it's a little bit of both. There should be some expected, and there'll probably more than likely be some unexpected obstacles to overcome. Again, we prepare for the expected as much as we can, and then we're ready to handle those unexpected ones but probably when they come up. So reframe that in your mind as opposed to expecting the fears. Fear the obstacles, expect them. They're going to come. We can't do anything about it. Let's control what we can control as much as possible. And view your setbacks not as failures, but as redirections. You think that someone traveling on the road today, there was an accident or a blockage in the road, the GPS rerouted them somewhere else. They get to their goal, ultimately, they have to maybe take a different route. It's that flexibility of following an alternate route to kind of get there. It's not a excuse me, a failure, but a redirection. Okay, we're going to go around this a little bit and work through it, but that'll get us back on track once you work through that failure, that obstacle course that we have to go through. So again, think of it as a redirection or a rerouting, taking the scenic route for a little bit on your way towards that goal, as opposed to that failure. And again, how we frame it and view it will make a big difference in how we approach it. And a nice quote that goes with this, coming back to our pal Winston Churchill, who we feature here every once in a while. Success is not final. Failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts. So again, success is not final. Like we say here, we want to ascend till the end. Failure is not fatal. You're not going to die from failing to achieve your goal. But it is the courage to continue that counts. You hear the old expression, get knocked down 7 times, get up 8. It's continuing, it's moving on, it's going forward, it's learning from those experiences that help us get stronger and become better people. And again, the goal is to not just reach the finish line, but to keep moving forward. We talked about that here. We've got our goal set. Each little goal is a finish line towards the big finish line of our December 31, 25 goal. But even that is our 2025 goal. As soon as we hit that line, the next goal is there. The next race is there. We've talked about it as hills before, climbing the hill. When you get to the top, that at the top is our goal we've set. You can see the next climb in the horizon. We got to go down and up the next hill and the next hill. So it's always there. The next challenge is always there in front of us. So again, keeping that in mind as you go forward, there's no kind of finality to this. We always want to ascend till the end. So we're accomplishing the goal, and that sets us up for the next goal. And again, we take all these experiences this year and these contingency plans and working through roadblocks and obstacles and lessons learned to apply to the next goal. And that should make that process even more efficient for us. So what I'd like you to do today or tonight, or whenever you kind of do some work on this, is write down your goal, what it is for the year. You should have that already. If you're just starting with us though, feel free, pop back a few episodes, check out the SMART goals, again, theme words, vision boards, motivation talks that we've done. Set your goal for the end of the year and start today. The best time to start working on a goal is now. So there's never too late. You can always start now. But what I'd like you to do is write down that goal and think of 3 possible setbacks for now, just 3. Write down those 3 and then create a backup plan for each one. So write down your goal, think of 3 possible setbacks, and then create contingency plans for those. And then as you're going through this, think, how can you prepare today for the unexpected challenges that may come tomorrow? And that's what this sort of is. The more we can prepare today for the expected challenges, the unexpected ones generally shouldn't have a big of impact on us because we've taken care of the expected already. So it's less on our plate to deal with and sift through. But we've also created contingency plans already. And maybe we can take some of those and create one for this unexpected obstacle that's going to come our way. So again, we're preparing ourselves to be ready for the unexpected, which will come. So again, think of your goal, 3 obstacles, create contingency plans for them, and that'll help us be better prepared for those obstacles and those unexpected obstacles that, again, will come. It's not a matter of if, but when things will come at you unexpectedly. And as we get ready to wrap up here, just a reminder that your success isn't about never facing obstacles. A lot of us think, again, that perfect plan, that perfect path towards that goal, nice smooth sailing. That's not the case. Success isn't about never facing obstacles. It's about how prepared you are when they arise. So remember to keep going, keep planning, and stay flexible. Keep that max flex attitude. Plan yourself out. Think of as much as you can. Expectedly plan. Again, we talked about having your schedule out, having your goals, your ideas, using those tools to, again, look for those obstacles that we expect. Then you can plan and prepare for them. And again, you take that off your plate, you feel more in control, you feel more confident, you're more likely to get started, to stay with it, and you're better equipped to handle those unexpected things that will come at you because you have plans that you can maybe put in place, or you have experience creating contingency plans in more of a controlled environment where you're deciding what to plan against. So again, in an uncontrolled environment, you're better apt to handle it. It's the same as the gym. We train multi-joint movements, mind-muscle connection, all these things in a controlled environment. So when life happens unexpectedly, we slip on some ice, we trip, someone bumps into us, we have to pick something up. Our mind, our muscles are used to working the way we need them to work to perform at a high level and hopefully limit injuries. And we're doing the same thing here with this. We're creating that mental muscle to be better able to adapt to the situations when they arise. So that's everything for tonight, gang. I appreciate you being here. Again, hopefully you were able to get something from this. I'd love to hear from you if you have maybe one of your obstacles, if you'd like to share what you think one of your obstacles might be in your contingency plan. It doesn't have to be super detailed, but a few different ideas from it and what you're looking to, again, maybe avoid or work through to better prepare. Or if you have contingency plans that work for you, again, please feel free to share them if you're comfortable to, again, help each other. Maybe someone gets an idea from one of your plans that helps them create theirs and vice versa. So I appreciate you guys being here. As always, whether you're live with us again or on recording, we always appreciate you tuning in. Please feel free to share this with your communities. Drop a comment. Let me know you're tuning in. We'll come back and answer any questions and comments. And if you have different ideas or questions for topics for us to do in a future episode, again, let me know in the comments, in the chat, send me a DM, whatever works best for you. Remember, I can be found pretty much wherever you're tuning into this with @POYBFit. If it's LinkedIn, it would be my name you'd search, whatever else. It's @POYBFit, pat on your back fit on socials for you to check me out if you want to send me a DM or touch base there. So Bonnie and Ramondo came in. Thanks for being here. Thanks everyone for tuning in, taking part. I can't wait to hear about your contingency plans for your goals and your obstacles that are coming up, and having a great, as smooth as possible year as we progress to those great 2025 goals we set for ourselves. Until next week, guys, stay safe, take care. Remember, always make yourself the priority that you deserve to be by striving to be operationally fit. Stay safe, take care. We'll see you next week.